Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk about some summer apparel and let you guys in on about 7 or so different tips, things that I wear or things that I do out on the pipeline or just while rig welding in general to stay cool during the summertime. For those of you who don't know, my name's Austin Ross. I've been pipeline welding for about 7 years and I absolutely love it. My goal here on this channel is to help you in any way that I can when it comes to rig welding, the pipeline lifestyle, the traveling lifestyle, anything to do with this type of life. What I do, what Kayla and I do for a living, any way we can help you, that's what we're here for. So if those videos are something you're interested in, make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to get notified when I post a new video every Friday. So one of the neat things about working on the road, traveling for a living, is sometimes you have the opportunity to work in a cooler climate versus a very hot climate. Not always, it doesn't always work that way, but that's my number one tip is if you have the option and you travel for a living anyway, if you have the option, instead of working in somewhere where it's 110 degrees, go work somewhere where it's 80 degrees. That's my tip number one, is take advantage of the lifestyle and go to where the cooler climate is, right? Tip number 2 is adapt to the warm climate. Growing up, I worked for my grandpa here in Oklahoma. It gets extremely hot during the summers. He had his own concrete business, and that's what I did during the summer, was do concrete work and hold square bills. So I got used to it, but one thing that my grandpa always did was rode around in his work truck with the windows down, no AC. He didn't even care if it had AC. His philosophy was don't get in the AC and get used to that because it's going to be that much more hot whenever you go back out into the weather. So that's what he always did. Now I'm not saying I do that. I definitely have a new enough truck. It has AC, and as a welder on the pipeline, we get from time to time, not all the time, but there are times where you are doing nothing a lot. So I do have my share of sitting in the AC, but I've noticed with working with older guys, they do like to hang out outside, and I think that's part of the reason, and I don't mind doing that, you know. It makes me feel more productive throughout the day, and the warmer weather isn't as harsh that way whenever you're just outside more often. So adapt to the warmer climate in any way that you can. Tip number 3 is the clothing I wear. I wear lighter clothing. A lot of you notice that I wear khaki pants and khaki shirts. I try to get lightweight khaki though, because they do make like a heavyweight, like Lapco shirts, they make a heavyweight. But I try to get the lighter weight before the summertime, you know, kind of let that wind come through and just take advantage of windy days when it's hot, and wear lighter clothing. I wear white undershirts. It's another thing my grandpa taught me. He actually wore long sleeves, like just plaid, like long sleeve, like pearl snap shirts. They were real thin, but he wore long sleeves because whenever he sweat, his shirt got wet, and then whenever the wind blew, that cooled him off. So it's one thing I learned from him, but I wear white undershirts and I wear white welding caps. The brand I've been wearing lately is Badass Caps. We'll put a link in the description. But anyway, I wear white year round, but I do prefer the white during the summertime because it's cooler. That's another thing I do to stay cool. Another thing to do with my noggin, something I thought of while making this video, is I've never actually tested it, but I would venture to say a pancake hood is potentially cooler than a sugar scoop or a flip hood. Let me know in the comments, for those of you that maybe used to wear a sugar scoop or a flip hood like myself, and now you wear a pancake, or maybe you're new to using a pancake outside, like in the outside weather where you might be able to get a breeze from time to time. Would you agree that a pancake might be cooler than a flip hood? Let me know in the comments. But that's something to think of, as a pancake could be cooler because you get air right here versus like if you got a sugar scoop all the way up against you, it's harder to get airflow right in here. So when it comes to welding shirts, I wear Martin Brothers or Lapco is what I've worn a lot in the past. Lapco has a medium weight and a lightweight. I would obviously suggest the lightweight during summertime. And then Martin Brothers just has one thickness, but they do make FR. I think everything Martin Brothers makes now is FR. Another thing that I do for summertime is I try to wear these green sleeves. They're a little bit thinner versus a leather sleeve that is definitely more protective, but it's a lot hotter than this right here. Another thing when it comes to shirts is I wear these. These are actually warm, but it kind of goes back to my grandpa's concept, is it gets wet when you sweat in it, and therefore whenever the wind blows, it keeps you cooler. But this is going to keep the sparks off of you, and I pull it all the way up to here. It's made for welding. Downhill welding creates the most splatter. I don't know about the most, but it's one of the types of welding that creates the most splatter. So it's a struggle trying to stay cool during the summers and still stay protected. So this is something that's warm, but I do use during the summertime, and it goes up underneath your welding shirt. I just recently got me one of these Up in Smoke welding shirts. I had the pleasure of meeting Mac with Up in Smoke at Stewart School this year. Real good feller. He's taken a lot of time and put a lot of thought into these welding shirts that he makes. This is a summertime edition. It's one of the lighter weight shirts that he just come out with. It's made specifically for summertime. It does not require any type of sleeves. Now these sleeves, I've only worn it just around the house on little projects and stuff here in the shop. I haven't welded with it out on the pipeline, but I like it because you don't have to put any, you don't have to carry around sleeves. I can literally just throw it on and go to work. And that was his main concept, I think, with this sleeve. It's super durable. I think it's like Carbon X or something he puts here. But y'all can go check out his website, find out more about his summertime shirt. That's something that I'm going to try out this summer. As far as the pants that I wear Martin Brothers. They're khaki, lightweight, and they're durable. You know, I like them. Even without starching them, they hold up to the sparks. But here recently, I have tried Carhartt. This is just a Carhartt twill, a lightweight Carhartt twill. I wanted to try something with some pockets on the side, just kind of like hold a striker, flashlight, or anything like that during the summer. During the wintertime, I put my flashlight and stuff and my soapstone in my vest. During the summertime, all I have is my shirt pocket, and I don't really want to put a flashlight or like a striker or anything like that. So I got these to try for these pockets, but that's other type of khaki that I've been wearing that I'm going to try out for summertime. So anything lighter in color and lighter weight is going to be cooler for the summertime. And tip number 4 is drink lots of water. That should be tip number 1, really. Drink lots of water, lots of electrolytes or Pedialyte. I'm just as guilty as ever. I don't drink near enough water, but water is definitely key to staying cool during the summer. All right, so before we go any further, let me know in the comments, what is the hottest temperature that you've ever worked in, and where were you at during this hottest temperature? Let me know in the comments. Tip number 5 is an umbrella. Umbrella is a very vital part of something that we use during the summer times. Umbrella or a tent. They use a tent a lot of times out on the right-of-way, but if they don't have a tent, or you're not with a crew that has a tent, like a tie-in crew that has a tent with you all the time, an umbrella is something that we use a lot. I've heard that blue is actually cooler than yellow just because it creates like a darker shade. Different ways that I have to hold the umbrella. I got 3 different ways that I've thought of here. This is a slam pole. I got this from Custom Built Tools. They're online, but you can definitely build one. A lot of guys build their own. If I built one, I probably wouldn't put these on here, but that's just me. We can talk about that in another video. All it is you use this pole here to slam this stake into the ground. That way, whenever you're down in a bell hole, you can slam this into the bank or into the ground and put your umbrella up here and stay cool. Another way to hold your umbrella is this apparatus right here. Now this is mostly going to be used for like bigger pipe when you're there on heavy wall pipe. You're going to be there for 2 or more hours to make it worth putting this up. You wouldn't use this on small pipe, obviously, but on big pipe it's very, very nice during the summer times. You can take this, put it on top of the pipe, get your ratchet strap, throw it around it, bring it down the pipe or wherever the sun's coming in at the time, just to create a little bit of shade. Very, very nice to have. A lot of jobs, they will build these at the beginning of the job, but not all jobs, you know, and depends on the contractor also. The last thing that I can think of when it comes to mounting an umbrella is stake pockets. It's something that I did not do on this bed, but I want to change. But I would put at least 4 stake pockets, that same size of pipe, that umbrella holder that goes on the pipe, that same size of pipe that holds your umbrella. I'd put one here on the other side and one on each side on the front, or obviously a place in your Hoosier pole if you have a Hoosier pole or use a Hoosier pole. My personal favorite is a squirrel fan. I'm sure you might be asking, what about porosity in my weld? Wind creates porosity. Yes, it does. But one good thing about downhill welding is it's a lot more forgiving when it comes to wind. That's one of the reasons we use the downhill process on pipeline work, is because of surviving the elements and getting work done and getting the job done during the rain, during the wind, and different things like that, because it's a lot more forgiving. Now, I don't suggest facing it right towards where you're welding. I like to put it down on the ground behind me and let it blow up my skirt, if you will, or put it behind my helper. My helper's gonna be over here, the pipe's where y'all are at, right here, and I'm welding. And I'm gonna put the fan behind my helper and let him get a little air while I'm welding, and then while he's buffing, I can stand back here in front of the fan and get some air. Just having it around to cool off more than anything. Now, if you are doing a different type of welding, you definitely don't want that fan anywhere close to your puddle, because it will cause porosity. You know, your uphill 7018, 8018, any kind of MIG process, flux, you know, the gas, flux where you use gas, anything like that, you want to not have a fan anywhere close by. That is not going to be okay for that type of welding. And my very last tip, what am I on, number 7? I think I quit counting, but number 7 is handy dandy bandana. First and foremost, just to wipe sweat, kind of like right now, because I'm in Oklahoma and it's warm. Or you could always wet it down. I don't do this as often as I should, but you could always wet it down with some water and just wear it like you would maybe, you know, during the cooler climates. Keeps you cool and keeps the sparks from getting on your neck. And I want to reiterate the water and the electrolyte. Drink plenty of water. They say 3 in every 4 people get dehydrated on a daily basis during the summer. Drink plenty of water. Don't get dehydrated. That is going to be it for this week's video. My advice for you is listen to the locals. Jerry, my welding partner last year, told me about a story of a guy. He was from up north, I think like Washington or something, and they were working in Louisiana, and he come and tested on a job, and he was so hot that first day that, I mean, he couldn't even comprehend it. He didn't know what to do. He wasn't adapted to the weather. So he grabbed this 5-gallon jug of ice water, and the people that were there, you know, the locals or the people that were from down there, they said, man, you don't want to do that. Don't do that. And he took it, because he was lifting it up. He was getting ready to pour it on himself, and they said, don't do that, don't do that. And he'd done it, and then like a couple seconds after, he passed out. I'm pretty sure that's how the story went, but that's my advice, is listen to the locals, you know. Listen to the people that are from that area and know about the weather and what you are and are not supposed to do. Drink plenty of water. Stay cool this summer. For those of you that are not working in a hot climate right now, go check out my winter apparel video. That might better fit your climate right now. Remember, learn something every day. We'll see you next Friday. That's my number 1 advice, is make this lifestyle work for you. And okay, all right, that's fine, that's fine.